Okay, I want you to just imagine something for a second. Imagine opening your mail and finding a letter from a murderer. But not just any murderer. We're talking about someone who actually brags about taking innocent lives, someone who practically dares the police to catch him. In this explainer, we are going to unpack the extremely cryptic beginnings of an American mystery that has literally baffled investigators and the public for over half a century. We're going to dig into the facts, track the timelines, and look really closely at the chilling messages left behind by a complete phantom. So, who was the Zodiac killer? It's a massive, massive question. And honestly, it is the absolute core of this 50-year-old unsolved mystery. We're talking about a case that has eaten up countless hours of police work, sparked endless internet speculation, and captured the attention of the entire world. I mean, how does someone so unbelievably desperate for the spotlight manage to completely evade capture? Section 1. America's most mysterious killer. Okay, let's dive into this. If we look at the concrete facts of his reign of terror, you realize pretty quickly this wasn't just a guy committing random acts of violence. Not at all. He was playing a highly calculated game. He left these insanely complex cryptic codes that were specifically designed to frustrate people. He sent terrifying messages directly to the press. And maybe most horrifying of all, he promised that more people would die if his puzzles weren't solved. He literally weaponized the media to spread panic. Part 2. Terror at Lake Herman. To really wrap our heads around this monster, we actually have to go back to the peaceful night where the whole nightmare began. December 20th, 1968. It was a quiet, freezing cold night near Lake Herman Road in Northern California. And the contrast here is just heartbreaking. You have this horrifying legacy of a serial killer on one hand, and on the other, the total innocence of two teenagers, David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen. They were literally just parking their car on a lonely road, expecting nothing more than a quiet, peaceful date night. But the reality of what happened out there was just shockingly violent. Imagine it. Someone is out there just watching them from the pitch-black darkness, waiting, and then completely out of nowhere, the silence is shattered by gunshots. By the time police arrived, they walked into a truly horrifying scene. The details are incredibly grim here. David was killed inside the car, and Betty was tragically killed while she was trying to run away into the night. It was sudden, it was brutal, and it was just entirely unprovoked. And guys, this is where the sheer, agonizing frustration for law enforcement really kicks in. There were zero witnesses, no fingerprints, absolutely no obvious suspect. The authorities were essentially staring into a black hole, with nothing but questions and a totally devastated community. They started the investigation, sure, but they had practically zero evidence to actually go on. And this brilliantly illustrates what happened next, which was just an agonizing wait. After the Lake Herman attack in December, there's this silent, eerie gap of 7 whole months. The trail just goes cold. The killer essentially vanishes into thin air, leaving the police completely in the dark. That is, until July 1969, when the nightmare suddenly rears its head again at Blue Rock Springs. Part 3. The 4th of July. Now, picture this stark contrast. It's a day of national celebration. You've got fireworks, joy, people having barbecues, and that suddenly becomes the backdrop for another horrific attack, July 4th, 1969. History tragically repeats itself. Another young couple parks their car, this time at Blue Rock Springs Park. And exactly like David and Betty, they were totally unsuspecting, targeted in the dark by a phantom who had been waiting 7 long months to strike again. And the attacker's procedure this time? Just incredibly cold and calculated. A vehicle simply pulls up right beside the couple's car. The driver doesn't say a single word. He just sits there, waiting in total silence. Then he casually gets out, walks up to them, raises a handgun, and opens fire. As both victims collapse, the guy just quietly drives away into the night. But there was one massive, miraculous difference this time around. One of the victims actually survived. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how perfectly it shows the killer's escalating and highly specific MO. Look at the left, Lake Herman Road in the dead of winter, a young couple, a parked car, a secluded road. Now look at the right, Blue Rock Springs in the middle of summer, a young couple, a parked car, a secluded park. The pattern is just undeniable at this point. He was hunting a very specific demographic and a very specific type of location. Part 4. A chilling phone call. So, less than an hour after the Blue Rock Springs shooting, the whole mystery completely shifts gears. We go from this silent stalker hiding in the shadows to something way, way more brazen. In the early hours of the morning, a payphone suddenly rings at the Vallejo Police Department. It was anonymous, sure, but this single phone call would be the thing to officially connect these two isolated incidents and totally change the course of the investigation.
The guy on the other end of the line was chillingly calm. No panic in his voice, no rushing. He literally just says, "I want to report a double murder."
But here's the crazy part. He doesn't just call to report the crime that literally just happened. He actually goes on to describe specific details of the crime scene that only the killer could possibly know. And then, right before he hangs up, he casually admits responsibility for the Lake Herman Road murders from months earlier. With that one phone call, the terrifying reality sets in for the police. This isn't just gang violence or a random crime of passion. They have an active serial killer hunting innocent people across California.
Part 5. Birth of the Zodiac.
So, the crucial point is that this phone call basically proved the physical murders were just a warm-up. This guy was starting a massive campaign of media warfare. He transitioned into someone who absolutely thrived on psychological torture. He started sending encrypted letters straight to the newspapers, basically guaranteeing public panic. He challenged the FBI. He openly mocked the local police for not being able to catch him. And to really cement his terrifying legacy, he decided he needed a brand. He gives himself a name that would be etched into history forever: the Zodiac. Which ultimately brings us to the most perplexing contradiction of this whole thing. Think about it. If this guy wanted the world to know him, if he's writing letters, calling the cops, and basically begging for the spotlight, why does his true identity remain America's most elusive mystery today? How does a guy who literally will not stop talking manage to disappear completely? We have seriously only scratched the surface of these cryptic beginnings. To be continued.